Why home-based stores build emotional capital. The coffee had gone cold again, another morning balancing the noise of the house and the quiet question she kept avoiding. Can I really build something of my own? The laptop sat there on the kitchen counter, wedged between cereal boxes and yesterday's mail, like a door she wasn't sure she had permission to open. She wasn't chasing millions, just freedom. The kind that fits between nap times and school pickups. The kind that doesn't require explaining herself to anyone but the person staring back from the bathroom mirror at 2 in the morning. But the idea didn't come from a business book, it came from the mess on her kitchen table. A handmade baby blanket she'd sewn for her daughter. A comment from another mom at the playground. You should sell these. Words that felt like fantasy until they started feeling like possibility. Part of her still felt guilty for wanting more, as if ambition had to disappear when motherhood began. As if dreaming about income streams made her less present, less devoted, less enough. The voice in her head was louder than any business podcast. Who do you think you are? What would you have done in her place? She opened the laptop anyway. Not with confidence, with curiosity. She typed how to start an online store into the search bar and held her breath, half expecting the internet to laugh back at her. Instead, she found a world that had been waiting. Platforms that didn't require coding. Templates that didn't require designers. Stories from women who started exactly where she was standing. E-commerce, she learned, wasn't just about products, it was about presence. It was about building something that could grow while she was still folding laundry, still reading bedtime stories, still showing up for every scraped knee and soccer practice. According to recent studies, small, home-based businesses led by women are growing 40% faster than other segments, proof that clarity often beats capital. She smiled, not because it was easy, but because it was finally hers. The first step felt impossibly small. She took photos of the blanket with her phone, natural light streaming through the kitchen window. No studio, no professional setup. Just her, the counter, and a belief that someone somewhere might care about what she'd made. She uploaded the images to a free platform, hands shaking slightly as she hit publish. Then came the doubt, the kind that whispers louder than failure. No one will buy this. You're wasting time. This is embarrassing. She almost closed the laptop. Almost convinced herself that dreaming was the risky part, not the doing. But she left it open, just for one more hour, just to see. What she didn't expect was the emotional architecture of e-commerce. Every product listing became a tiny act of self-definition. Every description she wrote was a chance to say, this is what I believe matters. This is what I want to bring into the world. The store wasn't just a catalog, it was a conversation with herself about value, worth, and the quiet revolution of choosing to be seen. Sometimes growth doesn't look like progress, it looks like staying. Her workspace was still her kitchen counter, but it no longer felt like chaos. It felt like possibility. She learned that e-commerce wasn't about having everything figured out before starting. It was about building trust in small increments. One order, one message, one 5-star review that made her cry over her cold coffee because someone had taken the time to write. This meant so much to me. She almost gave up until one message changed everything. A customer wrote to say the blanket had been a gift for her own daughter, and that it reminded her of her late mother's quilts. Suddenly, the transaction wasn't transactional anymore. It was human. It was connection disguised as commerce. That's when she understood. Home-based stores don't just build financial capital, they build emotional capital. Every sale is a story. Every customer is someone who chose to trust you with their money, their moment, their meaning. And that kind of trust doesn't come from flashy ads or corporate branding. It comes from authenticity, consistency, and showing up as yourself, flaws and all. Maybe success just wasn't meant for someone like her. That's what she used to think. Now she knew better. Success wasn't reserved for people with business degrees or venture capital or 24-hour days. Success was available to anyone willing to start scared and stay curious. She began to see patterns. The customers who came back weren't just buying products, they were buying into a relationship. They wanted to know the story behind the blanket, the inspiration, the why. So she started sharing more. Not polished brand copy, but real reflections. The mess, the mistakes. The moment her toddler spilled juice all over a freshly finished order and she had to start again. What would you have done in her place? People loved the honesty. Engagement climbed, orders followed. Not overnight, not in a viral explosion, but steadily, like roots, finding water. She realized that home-based e-commerce thrives on something corporate stores can't replicate: intimacy. When you're small, you can respond personally. You can customize, you can care in ways that scale doesn't allow. Then came the doubt, the kind that whispers louder than failure. Her husband asked if it was worth the time since the income was still modest. Her mother-in-law suggested she focus more on the kids. Even well-meaning friends wondered aloud if it was just a hobby. The pressure to prove herself financially was constant, exhausting, unspoken, but everywhere. She wanted to quit, not because the business wasn't working, but because defending her right to try felt heavier than the work itself. Part of her wondered if ambition was selfish. If time spent on her store was time stolen from her family. If she was failing at both. Sometimes growth doesn't look like progress, it looks like staying. She stayed, not out of stubbornness, but out of something quieter. Self-respect. She wasn't building a store to escape motherhood. She was building it to expand what motherhood could include: independence, identity, income that was hers. A legacy beyond laundry. Her workspace was still her kitchen counter, but it no longer felt like chaos. It felt like possibility. She started treating the store like the business it was. She set boundaries, designated work hours, explained to her kids that mommy had store time just like they had school time. Slowly, the family adjusted. Her daughter even started helping with packaging, adding hand-drawn hearts to orders. What helped her most wasn't just learning the mechanics of e-commerce, it was realizing that she didn't need permission to start small. She didn't need a perfect plan or a flawless product or a massive budget. She just needed to begin, adjust, and trust the process. E-commerce rewards iteration. Every listing is a test. Every customer interaction is data. Every quiet morning at the kitchen counter is an investment in something only she could build. The emotional capital she'd been accumulating started to show returns she hadn't anticipated. Repeat customers became friends. Word-of-mouth referrals came in. Other moms reached out, asking how she did it, saying they'd been thinking about starting something too, but didn't know where to begin. She found herself mentoring, encouraging, paying forward the kindness that early customers had shown her. She smiled, not because it was easy, but because it was finally hers. Disclaimer: this content is for educational purposes only and does not replace consultation or assistance from a professional. Always consult a qualified professional for any questions related to finance, business, or investments. The store evolved. She expanded the product line not because she had to, but because she wanted to. Each new item was a creative challenge, a chance to solve a problem she'd noticed in her own life. Baby carriers that actually distributed weight evenly. Teething toys made from safe, sustainable materials, products born from lived experience, not market research. What she discovered was that home-based e-commerce isn't just a business model, it's an identity shift. It's the slow, steady realization that you don't have to choose between motherhood and ambition. You don't have to wait for permission or perfect timing or someone else's validation. You can start exactly where you are, with exactly what you have, and build something meaningful in the margins of your life. Then came the doubt, the kind that whispers louder than failure. A competitor emerged, selling similar products at lower prices. For a moment, panic set in. Was she going to lose everything she'd built? Should she slash her prices too? Race to the bottom just to stay visible? But she paused, breathed, remembered why she started. Her store wasn't competing on price, it was competing on story, on connection, on the emotional capital she'd been quietly accumulating with every thoughtful response, every carefully packaged order, every genuine interaction. Customers didn't come to her because she was the cheapest, they came because they trusted her. Sometimes growth doesn't look like progress, it looks like staying. She stayed true to her values. Kept her prices where they needed to be to sustain quality and her own well-being. Communicated transparently with customers about why her products cost what they did. And the most remarkable thing happened. People stayed. They chose connection over convenience. Story over savings. Her over the algorithm. What helped her the most wasn't just the tools she used. Though tools mattered, she tested a few platforms before finding what truly worked for her needs and budget. She explored resources that made the technical side less intimidating. From website templates to shipping integrations to customer management systems. This isn't a promotion, just something that made her path a little lighter. She learned that investing in the right tools wasn't an expense, it was self-respect. It was saying, my time matters, my business matters, I matter. Her workspace was still her kitchen counter, but it no longer felt like chaos, it felt like possibility. She'd built something that generated income. Yes, but also pride, confidence, a sense of agency that rippled into every other area of her life. She negotiated better. She spoke up more. She stopped apologizing for taking up space. The emotional transformation was as significant as the financial one. Maybe more so, because the store had become a mirror, reflecting back a version of herself she'd almost forgotten existed. The woman who dreamed big, who took risks, who believed she was capable of more than she'd been told to settle for. When she poured her coffee the next morning, it was still hot, because this time, she wasn't rushing. She was building. She was present. She was exactly where she needed to be, doing exactly what she was meant to do, in a way that honored every part of who she was. E-commerce had given her more than a revenue stream. It had given her a way to see herself clearly, to measure her own growth, not in likes or followers or someone else's approval, but in quiet consistency. In showing up, in creating value, in trusting that her voice, her vision, her work, even from a kitchen counter, mattered. Tell us what part of her story resonated with you most, and where you're watching from. Your journey might just inspire the next one. Tell us which country or city you're watching from. See you in the next video.